Hey there, we are live on the SideQuest, your weekly journey into the wonderful world of video games. Go figure. I'm one of your hosts, Dolly Domofsky. Joining me as well, my compadre, my friend, my twin, JJ Holder.
Yeah. Back again. Less than a week after the last
Less
show.
than a week. 6 days. 6 days. How you doing, JJ? I heard you got a little under the weather. The PAX Pox got you.
Yeah, I got the PAX Pox on top of today's football. Just not a great day for me all around, but you know.
It's not a great day for you. Football always makes you down. Is that what?
No, well, today's game did. Jesus Christ. I don't
Oh, what
see
happened? Did you guys end up losing?
we got like destroyed by the fucking Rams. It was
The
team got booed off the field. That's how bad it was. So
my picks have been. I'm in like a fun little pick'em league, and I got like 4 right this week. So great. We play you guys next week though. My team right here, America's team,
yeah.
The Detroit Lions.
Yeah, that's what that's their nickname. That's
their
definitely
nickname.
It's definitely not the Cowboys nickname.
Nope. No one likes the Cowboys. I've never heard of the Cowboys. Well, hope you're feeling better, my dude.
Yeah,
I know these trade shows always kind of take a lot out of you.
The first PAX without mask requirements since the pandemic, and it's the first PAX that got me absolutely fucking destroyed sick. So go figure.
I was okay after PAX East, and I tested myself several times just to make sure. But
they also still required masks.
But yeah, and I knew people were getting sick, but it was the folks that went to events.
Yeah.
Afterwards, not events maybe events you could find on our party list, but still. But yeah, hope you heal up there, dude. That's the important part. Looks like it's just us two tonight. I got to turn off the eyeball thing.
Yeah.
Look at it. Look at it.
Oh, it hates it. Terrifying. I hate it so much.
My friends, it's happening. I'm turning off the eyeballs. There it is. It's gone. Whoo, I'm normal again. Just popping in to say, hey, and congratulations, Exagger-Moose. It's always good news. For those that aren't a part of our Discord, Exagger-Moose got, as they say, got hitched to the back of a truck and dragged through the streets. And he survived being dragged, so that was good.
So that means 2 more weeks of summer. So
2 more weeks. That's how it happens. Yeah, that's what happens when a moose gets dragged and survives on the back of a pickup truck. 2 more weeks of summer. Thank goodness. Good. Well, yeah, it's just us two. Zach isn't here, and I wanted to show. Ready?
Oh my God!
There it is. I got myself a Monkey D. Luffy shirt. It's actually kind of a cool shirt. Punching.
It's a good shirt.
It's a good shirt. I went to Kohl's today and I saw it sitting there. We had everything was on sale at Kohl's. It's the end of the season. And I'm like, let's do this. $9.99. I got this shirt, but I have to get like 2 sizes up because it's 100% cotton and it's going to shrink in the wash, which I freaking hate. I do not like cotton shirts because they're kind of on the itchier side a little bit, but they immediately will shrink in the wash, and they just feel so you have to go larger. But that's not the only thing. This was finally on sale, and I finally picked it up. Final Fantasy VI. One of Zach's 18 games of the year until the next game of the year. But no, I've wanted Final Fantasy 16, so picked it up. Pretty excited for it, and it's gonna be fun. I, of course, have not cracked it open, so don't don't hate me for it. But.
I'm sure the PC version will be out, and that thing will still be in shrink wrap.
Likely, yeah, likely. But other than that, I'm ready to talk about video games and all kinds of fun stuff. So, and there has been a lot of fun stuff. Let's just say happening over the last few weeks. Let me pull in some of this stuff here. Oops, hold on. Let me get.
You're gonna have to take me on the ride, as they would say in Marvel vs. Capcom 2. because I haven't been paying attention at all.
That is good. That is very good. Because let me get this first one going here. It is something that we kind of already knew, but apparently it wasn't official. Like I knew from I don't want to even say sources, this is what was just told in person at all kinds of events and online. People were talking about this that were working at ReedPop, but ReedPop and ESA part ways over E3. I like the images like get dismantled. This is on GameIndustry.biz, which I believe is partly owned by ReedPop. So, or has some type of link there. Christopher Dring, who was involved in the E3 stuff as well. So they've parted ways, and essentially, if you guys remember, ReedPop was brought in right after E3 2022 was canceled, right? They said, all right, we're canceling E3 2022, but we're bringing in ReedPop for 2023, and it's definitely going to happen. So everyone's like, okay, you know what? Not a bad idea. They're the ones you want to get involved in an E3 setup. This is a good idea. Boy, it was not a good idea because E3 was still trying to be E3. Hey, Taylor's here.
I'm here.
Taylor, you and I are wearing the same color shirt, but not the same shirt because mine's a leafy shirt. I don't know what you got.
Who'd you steal that from?
Zach's dead body.
That makes sense.
We just started talking a little bit about ReedPop and ESA parting ways over E3.
Wow, what a shocker.
What a shocker. Now, again, I thought this was public knowledge because I had heard from several people who were completely open about, hey, we're no longer involved with E3. This was like back when E3 2024 was canceled like months ago.
Yeah, I think even ReedPops had like a tweet saying like our hands are they had
a 1 year they had a 1 year deal and it didn't work out. And when it doesn't work out as spectacularly as that one did, those contracts tend to not happen in a second time. ReedPop's got their fingers in enough other stuff. They're not clamoring for it, right?
I feel like ReedPop probably said, you know what, dog, you guys can have this one.
Well,
you guys didn't want our help the way we were presenting it.
I would think so too. I would think that ESA would have been happy to welcome ReedPop to try it again a second time, and ReedPop was like, I'm gonna pass. Thank you very much for this opportunity / curse.
We got to see how you guys handled this stuff, so we're
So what's interesting is you look at, and we've talked about this a million times, but I'm going to bring it up again. You look at every freaking game conference. They're all back, and they're all bigger than they have been, right? The Keeley did his thing, and that was pretty decent. But Gamescom was massive. I think they said it was one of their biggest ever, just like huge amounts. PAX East was huge. PAX West, JJ, you thought it went off pretty well. Tokyo Game Show looks like it's going to be massive. There have been.
Or is that next week? Is that this week or next week?
It's next week. It's next week. Yeah, we'll get into stuff this week momentarily. But so expos are back. Like Comic-Con, if it wasn't for the strikes, Comic-Con would have been even bigger than it already was. But it's just E3. Just E3 doesn't know what they're freaking doing.
You've got a bunch of people promising that they're going to be making big plays at New York City Comic-Con this year. So I'm really hopeful that all these people are really hopeful that strike.
So thinking about this, I mean, we talked about it before. E3 needs to figure out what it wants to be. I had heard rumblings, like I think I mentioned in our Discord, that it could potentially happen in May. Some folks were actually saying maybe if they do any E3 type of thing, it wouldn't be an E3 Expo. It would just be like a series of business meetings, but just slightly more organized, and it would happen earlier in the cycle of the year rather than June. Or, I mean, I could see it happening. We talked about it. Just do business meetings around Keeley's thing. It's like, you know what? Let Keeley handle the media shit because obviously ESA can't do it.
As long as the big dogs that are at ESA remain at ESA, it's never going to happen. It's
never going to happen
because the feelings are too hurt. I mean, like, you know, at the end of the day, they're people, right?
Yeah.
I find it very hard to believe that anybody that's in a senior management position within the ESA organization will willingly concede that they have lost to Keeley in that regard. I just don't see it happening.
Well, and what's interesting is like, Keeley didn't. He made a great point. Whatever you want to say about Jeff, it's all true. But he makes a great point that he didn't kill E3. He just stepped in.
No,
and
he
said,
just
hey,
he made a different thing.
Yeah, he just made a different thing.
He made a different thing that cost different amounts of money.
Yep.
And he commoditized it, right? I mean, like he made something that was easy to churn ads in a way that the ESA was torn between doing that and creating an industry show. And
ESA
Jeff said, I don't really care if I'm an industry show. I'm going to make ads. And he did. And look, it still works. Like, that's just the way that shit works.
The ESA focused on industry and public. They're like, well, we can make money from public. Well, really, the money is from advertising. And you're right. Because the money was totally like, you can have a public side of things by doing like a theater show, and maybe the ESA partners with the movie with like theater chains and says, you're going to have an E3 bucket of popcorn or something. I don't know, but Jeff did it right. Jeff's like, hey, you know what? I'm just going to do ads. Ads are going to pay for this because people will watch this. And so the ESA is
and it's just like with like Toy Fair and stuff. The reason for E3's existence has changed.
Yes.
There's no reason to get a bunch of buyers for retailers into one location a couple of times a year, the same way it used to be.
It's true. Like, if everything's going digital, why do you need to have GameStop there? If but that has definitely changed. I do believe, man. Yeah, I just really feel like they've dropped the ball on this. ESA. I'm not saying it's easy to put on a show, but there are so many viable ideas out there that I keep thinking about. Like everybody, Summer Game Fest and the Xbox Showcase and the Ubisoft Forward thing, all happening in the same like 5-day span, revealed to me that people want to get together to talk business. Right? They want to go over shit. They want to see stuff, whether it's from the industry side. And again, Summer Games Fest was all media. It was almost all media. There was hardly any actual like business happening there. There was meetings here and there around LA, but not Summer Game Fest by itself. And so, yeah, people want to get together. They want to discuss shit. And it's like, come on, ESA, figure this out. Well, anyways, that's one story. I mentioned Gamescom because something else apparently was happening. Hit the wrong button here. Was happening around Gamescom that many kind of feel is sort of important, and that the cycle is starting, my friends. Nintendo has demoed the Switch 2 to developers at Gamescom. And so there have been, this has been the story this one's been kind of dominating the news over the last few days, apart from some of the cool Starfield stuff. But it's it. I mean, apparently Nintendo showcased whatever this Switch 2 is. And it's interesting because they used a souped up version of Breath of the Wild to kind of show off the specs. DLSS was really the big aspect
on a demo.
On the demo right there, yeah. They didn't say much apart from that, right? There isn't a ton of other.
Well, this is also leak, not official release, right? So
of course, like
quote unquote leak. I mean, we have entered the realm where the leaks are like actually sourced and believable now,
right? Yep.
We've crossed the threshold. So where there's still leaks, but these are the things where it's like we can be confident that this is official information that has passed from hand to hand. So
and I feel like this would have been at E3, but like
maybe.
Nintendo had no reason to be at Gamescom. Like they don't really do Gamescom, and Europe is not a massive market for them.
I mean, when's TGS?
That's next week.
That's what I'm saying. Like that, TGS is coming. They didn't have to do it at Gamescom.
Nope.
TGS is right around the corner, and everybody's coming to their backyard.
Which we know, if they showed it at Gamescom, they're definitely showing stuff around TGS.
What's going to happen, or at least what I expect, is that now that this is broken, something's going to get tiptoed out, like extra little info, because now it's on everybody's radar. So anybody that's going there is going to be teasing for any information that they don't already have access to. So I think that if there's any information that's going to be public to learn, we're going to learn it.
So Nintendo will actually be at TGS in meeting rooms only, like not in a public area. So in the business meeting area. And I'm looking at the TGS stuff right now. So, I mean, that kind of confirms sort of more of this stuff, because Nintendo doesn't really show up at TGS either, right? They've been pretty absent around that too. So, you're right. I mean, things are starting to pop in. But I want to get to a couple of the things that they've mentioned here. Folks are still saying mid to latter half of next year. They are saying that, I think it was either part of this or related to the Video Games Chronicle article or somebody else, which I'm sure there were 50 of them, noting that dev units are now in the hands of some developers, some of the bigger third parties, some form of dev unit. But showcasing Zelda, I think, is interesting. Breath of the Wild is interesting because some folks are like, well, why are they showing an older game? Well, hold on a second. They're showing an older game because at the time that was a Switch launch title, and that still holds up fairly well, like relatively compared to like even Tears of the Kingdom, which just came out, is kind of buggy in some areas and has like frame rate issues. Breath of the Wild was pretty solid. If you can show me a Switch launch game that's totally beefed up of what the new console could do.
Well, and Nintendo's
pretty solid.
Nintendo's always done that too.
Yeah,
like when they were showing off the Super Nintendo, they were showing off a new version of Super Mario Brothers to potential people and stuff.
But at the same time, they were showing off Super Mario Brothers World. They weren't showing off Super Mario Brothers 3 running on SNES hardware. You know what I mean?
No, they were showing what basically would become the
All-Stars.
The All-Stars games. They were showing off versions that, like, redone
Gotcha.
16-bit versions of original games. So it's that kind of thing.
I mean, I think that the other big reason to use Breath of the Wild is just the fact that you can almost guarantee that every single person that's going to be there looking at it has played that game.
True.
So you
has seen that game inside out.
Yeah, right. That's what I mean. Is that everybody is going to have a frame of reference of what this version looks like in comparison to the version that they played.
Sure.
And I don't know, that's the kind of, I don't want to call it a trick, but it's the kind of thing that works.
It's smart. It's smart, actually. It's the definitely more purchased game, right? It's the older, it's the more well-known game.
And also Nintendo likes to be as incredibly secretive as possible. Imagine they do not want to show off a brand new thing to some dingbat at Ubisoft. It's gonna fucking talk about it to the industry people. So
I'm curious if there's gonna be a hook to this console. Like, is there gonna be a gimmick to the Switch 2? Or I more and more feel like really there's not going to be any like crazy gimmick. I think it's going to be more from like 3DS to the new 3DS, which is like they updated enough stuff and fixed the camera.
I think that enough people at Nintendo realize that the Switch, they found their sweet spot with the Switch, and that the gimmick of having it just be a I would assume more than double the Switch kind of thing. So.
I mean, being able to upscale being able to get visuals, because they also showed that
the Matrix UE5,
the UE5 demo, which is pretty interesting, because that thing was meant to be a, hey, check it out, this is what we can do.
And wasn't there
with UE5.
Final Fantasy VII remake was being shown or something?
I didn't hear that. I heard
there was something about Final Fantasy VII remake or something.
Well, no, there was a rumor floating around that was going to be that was being made for the Switch 2.
But somebody saw cutscenes or something. Okay. I don't know.
Well, either way, the Matrix stuff is really interesting to me, because with the upscaling with DLSS, I think then you can have a console that's not as powerful as the PS5 and the Xbox Series, but if you can visually get some of those aspects when it's docked, I think that is kind of interesting to me. And it starts to feel like I could see multiple SKUs for this thing at launch. Like, I could see here's just the handheld version of the Switch 2, which you're not going to get. I
do not think there's going to be 2 independent SKUs at launch of the Switch.
I was just thinking one would be with and without a dock, but
I don't. I think Nintendo wants it to be as unified as an ecosystem as humanly possible. Look what happened with the Xbox. Like, it did great money, but it's splintered the ecosystem in a fucking disastrous way at this point now. So
they can drop a dock a version later on.
Yeah, Nintendo loves the couple of years into the life cycle. Sure, we'll do a dockless all-in-one unit like the Switch Lite did or something, but they're not going to drop.
It's not think there would be. This will be an LCD screen only, not an OLED, which is it's neither here nor there. My iPhone still.
Listen, everybody's going to criticize it, but at the end of the day, it won't matter, because you're going to have to buy it if you want it.
Exactly.
They're going to do the same thing, where it's going to get skewed,
right?
And so we'll come crawling back. That's just the way it's going to be.
They'll suck you into the ecosystem or the first couple of years, and then that's when they start to milk you, because that's just the Nintendo way.
A little bit of sad news. Volition has been shut down, effective immediately. This broke my heart, man. Now this happened like over a week ago. We didn't get a chance to talk about it on the PAX Quest, but man, it's a bummer. This was SideQuesting's very first ever game of the year. Not Saints Row. It was Red Faction Guerrilla, which Volition did. I really appreciate the work that Volition does. The Saints Row games, Red Faction. They just had that new Saints Row game come out last year, which is decent, I guess, right?
JJ, you played it. It's like, it's nowhere near the level of like Saints Row 2 or 3, but like it's fine. It was a mess at launch.
It's just sad to see this happen to a team that
it's just one miserable game can bring down an entire company these days, because there's so much.
I mean, it's a little bit more than this. A little bit more than that, right? Because what happened was that Volition just became red marking, right? It was just something that Embracer could put into their
but also
negative category.
Yeah, but also if the last Saints Row was actually a good game, that would it have been on Embracer's kill list? It's unclear, but it's still a bummer.
It really is. I'm upset, to be honest, because no, not upset, but I'm bummed out, because it's a great group of you never want to see jobs disappear, and
I don't know, you never want to see a brand that's like cool just kind of evaporate. Like Volition as a brand name was just like, Volition's got a new game coming out. Fuck yeah, let's pay attention to it for a couple of cycles, and then
one last little bit of news. Go from something bad to something good. And that Starfield had the biggest launch ever for a Bethesda game. They have 6 million people are playing.
I don't know what these numbers mean anymore, because like video game numbers are funky now. I don't under.
Well, and what's weird is that there was a huge discourse about like the current concurrent players on Starfield versus like Baldur's Gate 3, because I'm not a big fan of this, of just the number touting being gospel and being treated as gospel. And like the biggest thing is that like how many millions of subscribers does Game Pass have?
I don't know, 20 something, 30.
It was like 20 or 30 million, right?
Yeah.
Every single one of those people has Starfield for free.
Yeah, for sure.
So we're talking about 230,000 concurrent people on Steam.
Over 25 million people are subscribed as of 2022.
Yeah.
Right. So it's like, so you're talking about 200,000 concurrent players on it. As of right now, there is no console version of Baldur's Gate 3, right?
Yeah.
PS4 PS5 version is out.
Or PS5
Just came out.
Yeah, just came out over the weekend.
All right, so the concurrent numbers still predated a console alternative, right? And had no, subscription alternative. So I don't know. It's just like, for me, it's personally annoying because like it makes it meaningless. Unless because like where it's like, okay, well, compare me the apples to apples, and they don't exist. There is no apples to apples games anymore.
No, it's impossible,
especially with how many of them are first party studio builds and stuff like that.
How can you compare Zelda to Starfield? You can't.
Also, we don't know. We also don't know, right? Yeah. Because like Nintendo's never going to release. Here's the number of concurrent players on our anyway. So that anything that releases on Steam, we're just going to keep seeing this shit, and it's just going to become increasingly meaningless.
It really is.
But it's just, I don't know.
I'm impressed.
It bugs me.
It's almost impressive that many people on Steam have bought Starfield.
That's
considering.
But like, yes, on one hand, yeah.
Like,
but Bethesda has always felt like console games to me. And what I mean by that is that they exist in that sphere of the vast majority of their games were released at times when PC was overly niche, where PC gaming was in ever increasingly small number of people that were participating in it, and things have obviously shifted quite a bit in the time frame since. But yeah, I don't know. It's just a weird game to try and compare out concurrent numbers for a variety of reasons. But I just now am realizing how repeated this conversation is going to be, and I'm not looking forward to it.
The peak of Starfield was 330,000. If I look at Steam DB, the number of followers for Starfield is 445,000. There are 250,000 online right now. This is just on Steam. So, but yeah,
that's
what
pretty
does that
low
mean?
numbers.
It's
like the following numbers are pretty low.
Yeah. Do you automatically? And I don't know this. Do you automatically get a following if you purchase a game, or?
That's a good question. I don't have the answer to that.
I've never used Steam for anything other than buying games or adding a game to a wish list.
Yeah,
so,
buying games that you're never gonna play or only for review.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what following a game means. I'm old.
But it's so. And we talked about this before. I don't know where Steam is gonna fall, where Starfield's gonna fall. Again, we get back to the stupid console war stuff where back in the day with the numbers and the amount of games sold on whatever was
back when we used to actually get NPD numbers, like it's just from everybody was throwing NPD numbers out.
I don't know where Starfield's gonna fall on that. Pikmin 1 and 2 could beat Starfield because Pikmin 1 and 2 is being they're getting a version that's actually being put out there. I mean, freaking Baldur's Gate 3 on PS5 could beat Starfield because it's
you actually have to buy it
because you actually have to buy it exactly. So it doesn't matter. You're right, Taylor. These numbers don't matter because numbers just don't matter anymore. They don't.
Not in that way.
Money,
I mean, like
not in that way. Money matters. Yeah.
Right. I mean, and just like we're only going to hear about like what Starfield actually did and how it moved the needle on the next investor part of the quarterly call for Microsoft. So
like
anything outside of that is basically meaningless.
Agreed. Agreed.
I mean, we'll get some numbers of like how many people played it, right?
Yeah.
Which is about all you're gonna know. I mean, once we breach over into like the multi-millions, we're already above 6. The amount of free copies that were given out for reviews and influencers and all that kind of shit is meaningless anyway.
5 million copies were free. Which is weird. No, just kidding. I mean, no. I feel like I have Game Pass. The game is free, right? Like, I spoke to my buddies over the weekend, and I hadn't started Starfield yet. We were yesterday actually. I hadn't started Starfield yet. My buddy's asking me, I'm like, hey, he's like, have you started Starfield? I'm like, no, I haven't yet. I just haven't had the chance. He goes, oh, he's like, I probably about like an hour and a half into it. I'm like, all right, cool. While I'm standing there on my phone, I hit the cloud button for the Xbox app. I'm like, oh, there's Starfield. And I'm like, oh shit, my number just counted towards the number of players. And I'm like, it was free. Starfield is free for me. Like, I'm already paying for other games. So yeah, it's a very different world, and we're in the streaming world now. We're in the Netflixification, the streaming giant thing, and the day of reckoning is coming for games when this subscription service stuff really takes off. So
yeah. But
anyways, good news, I guess. People have actually tuned in to Starfield, which is what you want, and it's getting really good reviews. So I know people are loving it, just like the next big game. How freaking blessed are we this year? I think I made a post or whatever it's called on other other platforms of the games that we've had over the last like freaking just the last few months. We have Starfield, Sea of Stars, Pikmin 4, Baldur's Gate 3, Tears of the Kingdom, Final Fantasy, which, by the way, you weren't there when I showed that, Taylor. Final Fantasy, Street Fighter 6, Diablo, Armored Core, the Avium game, and there's like the list goes on and on. This is just like the last like 4 months. I'm not even talking about like Resident Evil 4, Metroid Prime. There's so many freaking amazing games this year, and there are more coming. It's bonkers. It's absolutely bonkers. Game of the year this is going to be the hottest contested game of the year, I think. From usually we're choosing game of the year from like 1 or 2 really good games, and then a bunch of other games that are good enough to be game of the year. Like paring it down this year to like 5 or 6 major contenders is gonna be difficult. It really is.
No, it's not.
No, it's not. No, yeah.
No.
Disney's Illusion Island. That's what's gonna be. No,
Dave the Diver.
Dave the Diver. I'm telling you, man. The SideQuesting. But yeah. Anyway, so that's what I had for news. Anything else you guys wanted to? I think that may be enough for now.
I don't have anything news. No.
I can't imagine.
We can talk about what we've been playing. And speaking of Starfield, JJ has been playing Starfield. So let me
just gonna put Starfield footage up as if people haven't had enough
just,
Starfield footage.
Starfield
save me.
Gameplay trailer. I think this is what this was. Go ahead, brother.
It was my after PAX in my hotel room game, because I did in fact spend the $35 on Game Pass just so I could play it early, because I got it's a thing. Anyways,
avoided the parties and went to this.
Listen,
went to space instead.
I took a special candy and decided I needed this. Anyway,
Haribo gummy bears.
Sure. It was mango flavor.
It was gummy. Continue.
Yeah.
God, I could go for some Haribos right now.
Tell me about this game. Is it any good?
I love it.
Yeah.
It's so funny to like, you boot it up for the first time and you start getting into your Starfield adventure, and it doesn't take very long, but all of a sudden it does hit you again, like, oh, this is a Bethesda game. That's right. Because it does not. Everything's exactly the same. Like, you're just doing like your early like space stuff, and then all of a sudden it does that Bethesda, like you go up to a person and talk to them, and it does that pan where you're just looking them dead in the eyes as you have a conversation with them.
Do you emerge from a vault in this? Is there like a vault moment?
Oh my god, imagine.
I mean, not too. I mean, like you're a miner, so you do emerge from underground.
No, I'm 44.
Sure.
Don't let his height fool. Don't let his height fool you.
Yeah. But it's really weird to play one of these Bethesda games in sort of like a pristine environment because like so much of it is just like nothing's wrong with the world. It's just you're living in the future. I forget what year it is at this point in this game, but that's my favorite gun, by the way. It's like a weird, like ultra powerful revolver that can just fire off 6 rounds in like it's like fully automatic. It's crazy. But it's so funny because it really is like half Bethesda game, half No Man's Sky. Because you're like, you're just popping from planet to planet, exploring shit and following a quest line if you want to. You don't have to, but I'm just kind of powering through the main quest because just it's kind of overwhelming to like it doesn't take very long until people say it's a very slow start, but like they unlock
I've heard that too,
they unlock like the universe map for you really quick, like so like you can start popping around the universe pretty quickly from the get-go and just not do anything, and it's got a jetpack, which games need jetpacks. So I'm about 8 hours in and I'm just like cruising about the universe doing shit, killing weird monsters on planets. I don't care. Am I destroying the fragile ecosystem of this moon? Probably, but you know what? It came at me first.
Moon should have thought about that.
Yeah. So, it definitely has this weird like it's like it almost feels like No Man's Sky most of the time, but so much more like easy mode No Man's Sky. Like you still have to do all of the like you need fuel to like boosters and stuff, but and these mining guns and shit to get minerals, as you can see in this video. But like it asks a lot less of you to like mixing and matching and like crafting and things like that. But at the end of the day, it is just a Bethesda game. You're just following quest lines and having how's your persuasion? Maybe you can talk this guy down to it being only 400 space credits. Who knows?
I'm okay with that though, because those are the kinds of games where follow little mini quests from
here's the thing there. I've said it before, I'm not the biggest fan of high fantasy, so like Skyrim's fun, but I kind of don't give a shit. And Fallout, Wasteland stuff is typically just extremely like I don't know,
boring.
It gets boring real fast.
It's like, there's more mutants.
I like sci-fi shit and just like going to these like pristine like space stations and like you go like because you can choose to play the game how you want to. Like every time I go to like a sort of a fancy solar system, like with like a civilization and stuff on it, they like scan your ship to make sure you don't have any illegal contraband on it first before you can land on the planet, because like you can just become a smuggler in it. Here's the lock picking in this particular game.
That's so familiar, man. This is awesome. This is like the most familiar thing on the planet.
I know, it's so good.
Why make me do a mini game at all anymore? Honestly,
but
just fucking Baldur's Gate me and dice roll it.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like sometimes you sit there and you're like, I really wish this had more RPG shit, but like it never really feels like I'm building any XP or anything in this, even though you are. Every time you shoot and kill somebody, it's like 5 XP, and you're just like, it's gonna take me 1,000 years, isn't it?
Yeah, so like I've watched a couple of people play it. I haven't played it yet, and it's just weird to see like really, really small XP tickers. Yeah, just like constantly going. And you're like 5 XP.
But it does. Huh? But and there's so many pirates in this game. I'm just like, you just like you wind up on like a planet, and it's like it's a dilapidated or like a ransacked like tower on this planet somewhere.
Full of pirates.
Like, yeah, just full of pirates. They were ransacking the business to get like pieces, and it's like, it's pirates. So it's like, cool. I'm just gonna sit here with my space fully automatic rifle and mow down pirate after pirate after pirate, and it's and they all look exactly the same because they're all in the same costume. But it's like, other than that, like, I don't know what the main plot line is just like sci-fi bullshit, which I love. You're building whatever this is. You keep finding these artifacts, and every time you touch one, you see a weird vision and hear shit, and it's just like, we need to figure out what this thing is. So you're like hopping around the galaxy finding more of this thing, and it's bringing them together. So I'm sure you're going to unlock some sort of mystery of the universe at the end. Or best case scenario for me is that it is an extremely unsatisfying sci-fi ending, which is how most high sci-fi fantasies end up being, where it's like, the mystery of the universe was the adventures we went on along the way. So now time restarts. And
it's interesting because you say that, because I've heard several folks who have reviewed it. There's one track like folks saying, if you want to power through the game, go ahead and power through it, because you'll probably want to take multiple runs of this game. Which I'm like, interesting. What that means. I don't know what that means.
I'm gonna press exit out, dog.
Yeah.
I don't think that's gonna happen.
I don't even have that much of a. You know how you can open up a map on like Fallout or Skyrim or Oblivion or whatever the fuck ever it is, and you can just look at the map and just kind of get a feel. It's like, I've seen a lot on this map. I'm gonna assume I'm, past the halfway point. I have no idea. Like, I've been doing the main quest for about 8 hours, and I've been playing the game for about 8 hours. I have no fucking idea. It's just one big universe map, and I'm like, I haven't even been to this solar system yet. Like, is there something important here? I don't know what the fuck's going on. Like, I don't know how long this game is. I never looked into it, so who the fuck knows?
That's cool. I mean, what kind of character did you make?
Just a badass buff space lady,
just like you are in real life.
Yeah,
just like you are in real life.
Yeah, JJ, a complete self-insert, always has to play as himself.
Yeah.
Always plays himself.
Complete Gary
Can't help it
every time I play. Yeah.
So I'm gonna be playing this week. I'm already. I have it set up, ready to go. I downloaded it on my Xbox. If I only had a device I could stream it to on a controller, that'd be wonderful. But I'll be jumping in this week. Taylor, you don't have Game Pass by any chance, do you? Like Ultimate or whatever. Yeah. Oh, you do? Okay.
Yeah, my trick is now dead, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But I'm in my second 3-year stint where I loaded it up on gold and then did the conversion. So
nice.
I've done 6 years of Game Pass for $360 total, which I think is pretty good.
That's pretty badass.
All said and done.
Yeah, I've got to re-up. Mine automatically re-upped earlier in August, earlier in September, and I was like, oh shit, I forgot to get a cheap Game Pass.
I'm gonna be honest. I mean, I think I got like 2 years left.
Nice.
And Xbox will have to have made some changes in order for me to continue it at the full price of Ultimate. If I'm gonna be honest. But no, I haven't touched Starfield yet. Or I've been playing other Game Pass games.
Yeah. Which we'll
that
talk
are
about in a second.
far more interesting to me.
FIFA. So good to know.
That's
finally playing Gris.
Finally,
I played Gris when it came out, sir.
Okay, good.
Gris was great.
I bought that full price.
Yep, I had a review code,
and it was worth it.
It's a great game.
I think I had a review code for it. Anyways, I freaking love that game. Okay, Starfield. It's a field of stars.
I love flying the spaceship. I just do.
Have you built a crazy ass spaceship yet? Or
I am in the process of building a crazy ass spaceship.
Some of those are pretty cool to see. Like people are building. Somebody built basically a spaceship that's essentially impervious to enemies.
Yeah,
They come up with a way to do that.
I saw the one where they created like this complicated grid ship that made the auto targeting impossible for enemies, which was like really funny and cool.
I'm gonna do that. I like to break games like that because it makes me feel powerful within the confines of the game. So yeah, for sure, I'll be doing that. All right. Anything else you've been playing?
No, I'm just watching Taylor's dog now.
I love that dog. Dog's like, hey, let me out. Let me out.
I hear their little paws stomping around. And
Yuki boy, what are you doing, buddy?
Get on camera. Get on camera.
You're all
boy.
fuzzed out, man.
I
You want to come here?
Come here. Yeah, I want to come here. I got something to say about Starfield.
No, he's gonna start pacing back and forth. He's gonna go up there, wait at the door. I'm not gonna come. He's gonna come back down here.
Nice.
Come here, bud. Come here. Come here. Come on. Get up here. Come say hi.
Well, hello.
Aww, look at him. What a good dog.
What's your opinions on microtransactions?
Rough.
If my dog barks right now, my daughter just went to sleep like 20 minutes ago. You're not allowed to speak.
Lovely pooch. Look at that.
All right, see ya.
You playing anything else, JJ?
Mother 3. That's
nice. Yeah. He's got Mother 3 loaded up on the Switch, the remake of Mother 3.
The remake. They gave it to me behind closed doors
from Nintendo.
I went to Nintendo Live, and that was behind the convention center deal that I made with Reggie. Was there? He's a big.
Did you see Reggie by any chance? Did you bump into him at all?
No, I didn't bump into Reggie. I bumped into Shuhei, and that was it.
That's cool. Yeah, Shuhei's a good
that was enough for you.
Yeah, that was enough for me.
Taylor
and Justin McElroy. I bumped into. Justin
that's
McElroy.
right. You mentioned. Yeah,
that was fun. I liked that.
Tay, what are you playing, brother?
So I decided I busted out my Windows SD card, popped that bad boy into the Steam Deck, and decided that it was worth it. And it turns out it has been significantly.
Why?
Just like because I don't have time or the willpower to sit at my desk and play games lately.
Yeah, no, dude, I'm the same way, man.
And I already have the game, and I don't my.
Wait, what game is this?
So I've been playing Sea of Stars.
Oh,
because it was a Game Pass Day 1 game.
Okay.
And my frugality is too strong. I don't have the willpower to purchase it on Steam just to circumvent that restriction. And so I've got I've already had like the whole thing set up. It's not like I went out on an endeavor to install Windows and just for this game.
Sure.
But yeah, I mean, I'm still using Glossy, I think is the name of the little app.
I need to get this info from you because I need to get that set up. Yeah. Keep talking.
Because for Glossy, what you can do is, it runs as a separate app, and you can target Windows Store apps and then say, I want you to go into Steam and make a Steam targeted app for a Windows Store game, which is, if you've ever tried to work with the Windows Store apps, is kind of paramount. On Steam Deck, it's even more important because if you're not using the Steam targeted controller layouts for Steam Deck stuff, it will tend to break. So you basically have to launch through Steam, and so you have to use this stuff to get it to work. But anyway, aside from hibernation issues causing sleep resume stuff, and that is not perfect, probably not as good as it would be if I was playing on Steam OS. But aside from that, like playing the game, like if I'm just sitting there and I'm playing, I pretty much have trained myself to only pause my gaming if I have recently saved, because I don't want to risk hard crashing it. But as long as I'm doing that, like the experience of sitting there playing it is basically identical to if I was on Steam OS. So, all right, past that portion of it, talk about the game. I don't know, it's really good. It's a good RPG.
All right.
It's in that Paper Mario style of interact as you do your turn-based combat. So, you don't have to do it in order to continue to proceed. But if you don't press the button, and if you don't press the button at the right time, you do less damage. You take more damage if you don't press it to block. All that good stuff. So we saw a lot of stuff there that if it's funny because like I didn't watch any media for this. I'll talk about that mini game later too. But like just some minor story spoilers that were just, that they were quite keen to just be like, yeah, that's fine, everybody can see this.
We'll put this in the launch trailer.
I think that's some weird shit, man. But yeah, it's very good. I don't know, it's fun. Story is not bad. I'd put it on the good scale. I don't know. It's fairly early in, to be quite honest. There's a bigger story that they've only kind of really started to tell. But beyond that, visually spectacular, in my opinion.
Love the look of this.
It looks really good in motion. So yeah, I've been having a very, very good time with Sea of Stars. I want to go play it right now.
So tell me what kind of, so this is a Chrono Trigger meets Mario RPG is what I've heard, sort of.
Yeah, I'd say that's Mario RPG. That's why I said Paper Mario, but same difference, right?
With time to tax,
time to tax and all that jazz. I mean the actual combat is really neatly done. You can see there's those little timer counters above enemies' heads there. Mm-hmm. That's telling you exactly how many turns or how many actions you can take before they are going to make their move. Mm-hmm. And then you also see in some of these clips where there are icons next to those timers. And what that is that they're going to do a special move unless you make those actions against them before the timer runs out. Mm-hmm. So blunt attack, sharp attack, the different types of magic that's in the game. If you don't do those before their timer comes up, they'll do a more powerful move and that kind of thing. And so it brings in like a little bit of a puzzle element into it, which is engaging. Sometimes I've felt like it is impossible, but that just could be because, I am early on in the game. I think I'm like 6 hours in, but who knows how many times I've left it just open sitting on a countertop. So to take that grain of salt.
Cool.
And then there's a really sick mini game. I don't know. Can you find the portion of it where it looked like it was a tabletop?
Earlier. I'll show you right now. Hold on a second. They have that as a.
Do they have a separate trailer for it?
Do they ever? The Wheels mini game?
Yeah. Yeah, bring up Wheels.
Here's a 35-minute demo of Wheels.
Oh my God! Is this a dev studio reveal?
Yeah.
Just throw some gameplay up on the background there. So yeah, I got introduced to Wheels. I think I want to say it was yesterday, and it looks overly complicated, and it took me a few times before I figured it out. But Wheels is a sick mini game to be included in an RPG, man.
Nice.
Basically, you have a castle, and then it's each player can play these two figurines. Each one is basically a class. So on this screen, there are two fighters. There's an archer and there's a mage, right? Okay. And you can see the mage has a really tall tower on the bottom right there. The fighter has the shortest tower, and you basically spin the wheels, and then you can kind of like Yahtzee, and you can lock the icons that you've spun, and you get 3 spins per turn. And the little icons that have blue give your character experience. And then if you have at least 3 counters, you basically pull your character's action tower down 1 notch. And so what it is that 3 icons is 1 notch, 4 icons is 2 notches, 5 icons is 3 notches, and so, or I already said that, but anyway. No, that was right. Anyway, so continue on. And then basically the core thing is that you don't move an action notch unless you get at least 3 icons of an individual piece. So the 3 different tokens are stars for your right-hand character, squares for your left-hand character, and then bulwarks, which are the hammers which raise your shield there. And then you just keep playing until one person's thing reaches 0. The big difference here is that obviously each one of these little characters has specific things to them that makes it more interesting. Obviously the fighter has 3 damage that it does, and the mage there only has 2. But the difference is that the mage attacks twice, once low and then once high, which cannot be blocked by the bulwark and stuff like that. So there's a priest class. I think there's 6 classes in total, and yeah, we'll say that I played wheels until I won everything that there was to win at the towns that there have been places to play it. It's really good, and also it looks really cool. So you got to collect all the classes. You can raise up like the level of, like, the whole thing is that it's supposed to be a clockwork. Like, this person who makes clocks, it's very tactile. There's a sound to it, which sounds like gears turning every single thing. It's all meant to be mechanical, and the sound is kind of imperative to be able to really get the look and feel for it. But that's the reason why there's all the lines for everything. Everything pops up and then moves forward. It feels like a purely mechanical device, and it's really neat. But I would play a wheels game easily. It's very good. But yeah, other than that, Sea of Stars, I don't want to spoil too much. Just for anybody that wants to play it, I'll do a bigger talk on it after I finish it for sure. And
we know Zach's been playing it too, so
Zach's definitely going to play it.
He's been talking relentlessly about this game in the Discord. So
let's see. Oh, there we go. That's my buddy. This is we're talking about Sea of Stars. This is the mini game Wheels within Sea of Stars. But yeah, I mean, I would.
You're muted.
If you.
Yeah. I was just saying, I'm talking. I'm like, this is the Wheels mini game in Sea of Stars, and I'm saying I can't wait to get into Sea of Stars. But again, there's that problem with too many fucking good games going on right now.
But yeah, I mean, yeah, I would. There, especially like the mini game people. You know the kind of people that are out there that are like, they get, the kind of people that get really into Gwent. The people that turned Gwent into its own game somehow beyond all measure. They would buy Wheels.
Every fucking card game that has ever appeared in a Final Fantasy game.
Yep.
The people that played, that were like, why didn't they just make a game called Blitzball?
Yeah.
Those kind of people that they want this. Yeah, this is one of the good ones.
This looks like something that cool. I would absolutely buy for like $5 on the eShop right now.
Yeah, exactly. And like, this is the kind of thing that if somebody managed to turn this into an actual clockwork game, I would kiss them on the mouth. Yeah. It's incredible.
You would have their baby, is what you're saying.
No.
I'm really
No, I'm married, darling.
I'm really impressed with how
your spouse made it.
Like, nothing seems fantastical about this other than the projectiles coming off of the figures. Like, everything here definitely looks like it could be an actual mechanical creation.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, even the the projectiles, like even that, like when you hear it, like I said, some of it's lost because we're not listening to it.
Yeah, look at the little flag. Love it.
It's so cool. It's so good.
This is gonna be that the company, was it Wormwood or whoever that makes those tables that they always show my PAX. They're gonna make one of these.
Dude, if they came out with I'd be tempted. Yeah. It'd be dangerous.
Sweet.
Yeah, it'd be $700, but
and but yeah, I'm thinking. Other than this, did I play any other video games? Oh, I got one other to talk about.
Yeah.
I made the mistake of launching or installing a incremental game. I don't know if you guys are anybody a follower of incrementals?
A little bit, yeah.
So there's a game on Steam called Orb of Creation. So incremental idler game.
I know it. Orb of Creation. Yeah.
And a few things grip my life like incremental idle games. They like actively sabotage me as a functioning person, and I should never buy them. But I bought this one.
Getting a video up here because I have no idea.
And it was basically running background on my computer for 8 days straight.
What?
Nonstop. I mean, like that's the point, is that it's an idler game. Like you are accruing resources the entirety of the time that the game runs, right? So there's an incentive to never turn it off. But yeah, it's $5 on Steam, and I spent far too much time.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm gonna load up. I will load up the Steam.
Anybody that's played idlers or incrementals are like, they've already gone and looked it up and are like, okay, I'm gonna have to buy it.
Yeah. It's like
I've never heard anything, but I'm totally interested. I love this kind of shit where you just leave it.
You never heard of Cookie? You ever heard of Cookie Clicker?
Dude, no, I'm saying no.
Oh, okay.
I haven't played Orb of Creation. Is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I've played a bunch of other ones.
Yeah,
I hadn't heard of Orb of Creation before. A buddy of mine was like, "Who here likes incrementals?" And I'm like, "Oh God, I wish he hadn't said anything." And then he said, and then he said Orb of Creation. I'm like, "Oh fuck!" And so that was my whole week.
Is incremental just a fancy way of saying idle game? I mean, is that basically what?
Idle games don't have to be incremental games, but incremental games are almost always idlers, where there is some resources that they're accumulating in the background, regardless of what's going on, right?
Number go up. I just need number go up. Number go up.
That dopamine hit.
God, they're so dangerous.
That's why that stupid Street Fighter game from earlier is like, this game sucks, but it was running on my phone like an entire hour and a half bus trip to Seattle, and I'm just like, yeah, all right, let's go.
But anyway,
I played the pot one. That one was great.
As far as like idler incrementals go, like it's top of the line. It's good. It's good stuff. I played No Man's Sky for a couple hours with a friend of the show, Mike Bachman.
Yeah, I know. I remember him. Former SideQuester Mike Bachman. Yeah.
And we built a base for like a minute, and he's always gets more addicted to No Man's Sky than I do, and I was like, okay, like I did it. Like it takes too long to get to all the new stuff that they add. I always look at it and I'm like, man, that's so cool. That's so cool. Look at all this stuff that they did. They're like, how long you got? Yeah. I'm like, not long enough. Which is a shame, because like it plays really well on Steam Deck too.
Yeah, it does.
And I don't know, maybe one day I'll just like get really back into No Man's Sky, but I'm not sure. And we've been playing Baldur's Gate 3. We're doing a group run, 4 of us, and which means that we only meet once a week, so we're like 3 hours into the game.
All right. I don't know anything about doing group runs in Baldur's Gate, but I'm gonna be. It's
the same as doing group runs and anything else. Try and get 4 people together that are all adults in a regular basis.
I don't have any of that. Nothing. No adults in my neighborhood.
Bunch of late 30s, early 40s men trying to get together online before 9 o'clock.
Yeah, good luck with that. Good luck with that. So it's one thing I didn't want to mention was when Sea of Stars was first coming out. Back to Sea of Stars real quick. I walked through my Barnes and Noble because I freaking love Barnes and Noble. And I'm like, there's a Sea of Stars comic book. I'm gonna read this thing. So I bought all these Sea of Stars comics and read them. It's Image Comics, completely unrelated to the Sea of Stars game.
My friend.
It's a whole separate comic. I was like, oh shit, I got duped.
You got fucking got, man.
Cool. It's actually a pretty cool comic. So I've been like buying the graphic novels now of Sea of Stars.
Sea of Stars is the space truckers, right?
Yeah, the space trucker. Yeah. Dude gets his space truck bit in half by a giant whale or whatever it was. Yeah, and then all of a sudden it becomes a story. So good shit. Well, I have been playing a game for review, and I'm playing a game that I've been more into puzzle games, because puzzle games have been, you get through like Zelda and you get through a bunch of other big RPGs like I did, and it's like I need to take some time and do some stuff that's a little bit small, a little bit more of like thought process rather than like action and like turn-based crap. And so tense and trees. No, so I've been playing a game called I got a review code called Chants of Sennaar. Chants of Sennaar is, I'm on a larger screen here. It's a puzzle-ish game. Great visuals. The first thing that struck me was like, I freaking love this visual style. Really high saturation, high contrast.
It was Monument Valley for a second.
I saw him running on the tower, and I was like, yeah, Monument Valley.
Yeah. So it's that feel though, because the camera pans around like Monument Valley and a lot of it's a sort of isometric view. Anyways, Rundisk is developer. They've
got terrible posture though.
Yeah, it's always kind of bent over. So the whole goal of this game is, you see that. Let me pause it. All right. So you're going to you walk around, you talk to people, or you'll see people. Like, this is essentially like the early portion of the game here is telling you what this game actually is. Right. He's kind of throws a symbol out there. You don't know what it means because they don't give you nothing is really in English in this. You'll see the symbol, and then stuff will pop up, and it'll be like dots. And you're like, well, basically that tells you that you don't know what this word or this text means yet. So he's saying something, but you don't know. So you walk over to this little pulley, and you see that you hit a button. You pull that down as an action, right? And then this little gate will open. The water will kind of run through, but then this water will go down here, and then he'll run around this way or something, right? So he'll go over here, and you're like, oh, that meant open or pull or something. Okay, so you get over here, and then he'll give you another symbol, and the other symbol is something else. Like, what does that mean? So then you'll pull this pulley, and it closes, and this thing like opens back up. You're like, oh, that meant close. All right, I kind of get it. You get this notebook in the game. So you're learning these symbols by seeing people say these things, or they're written in places. Open up the notebook in the game, and the notebook has all the symbols that you're seeing kind of pop up on the right, and on the left has like whatever the image for that level is. Each image has sort of, the idea is you're supposed to place these symbols on this image, and then it opens up the exact words for these symbols. Well, if you don't know what those words are, and you see that you can't really drop them on the image because you have no idea what it means, but you can kind of guess what these symbols are. Like I said, you'll be like, okay, I think he means open or pull. And so you can actually, when you see the symbols pop up in your notebook, you can kind of tap the X button. I'm playing it on Switch here. You tap the X button, and you can give text to those symbols. You're like, okay, I think this was open. So you'll type in open. Now, whenever you see that symbol pop up, it'll say open. Oh, that's kind of cool. You kind of get it. And then so you'll come across like murals in the area, and the murals will have like a bunch of symbols, but maybe you only know one or two of those symbols. And so you've kind of pre-written some of those symbols. You'll be like, all right, there's 2 dash lines. There's a symbol that I know is the word open because I've solved it. And then like 2 more dash lines, and then 2 more dash lines, and then like a symbol that I've solved as God. And I'm like, all right, well, I don't know what this means. Well, those 2 dash lines, it's related to, it looks like it's looking at people. So maybe 1 dash line is person, but 2 dash line means multiple persons, which means people. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. So you start to figure stuff out like that, and that's how you sort of solve all the puzzles in this game. You have to, it's really all about language. Those were the 3 dots that kind of come across. It's like, okay, I kind of get the puzzle solving, So and there's let me pause it because this is what that page is. I probably should let that run through here. Let me hit this play button here. So you'll have these. Here are all the symbols that you've collected so far in the area, right? In each area, you get all new symbols, and some carry over, some don't. Mostly all new symbols. But you get these images that are supposed to kind of help teach you. So you're like, okay, well, which of these symbols that I know are going to fit in here? And you'll only know them because you've experienced some stuff and you started figuring things out. And then once you kind of use this, it deciphers all the symbols that are related. So it's a really interesting aspect to the game, right? And so I enjoyed that part. And I enjoy the visuals. The audio is really good. it's loaded with these kind of puzzle style mini games. Like you thought that Wheels was a mini game. Like we saw the Starfield pick lock mini game. There's a lot of pick lock ish mini games in this, and you need to know the symbols to figure it out. Now the bad part is there are no maps. So like there's a symbol right there, right? So you see the mural. Let me get back to that part. So there's the mural. It's like I don't know what this means, but I figured out that one of these things
flipping the bird. He's like,
yeah,
fuck
literally.
you guys.
I figured out one of these things was warrior, so that means multiple warriors. I know this thing is door, and I know this. I ended up knowing this thing was close earlier. So it's like, oh, warriors closing the door. Well, what are they closing the door? The next mural is a temple because you know that what the symbol for God is and stuff like that. But a lot of little mini games in this, and you can't figure these mini games out until you get enough of the text. But in order to get the text, you have to kind of find your way around the entire freaking area that you're in, the level that you're in. The only bad part about that is that there's no maps. And because there's no maps, I'm back in the day of like, did I go this route yet? Do I have to go down? Oh, I'm in the same area I was before. And you can kind of teleport around a little bit. You get that skill later on, but it's a really cool idea for a game. I think here's one of the mini games that I absolutely hated, even though I figured it out. Really cool idea, but it ends up
tarot.
That tarot is interesting because it teaches you hierarchy of the character. So you're like, okay, this is a peasant, this is a disciple, this is a warrior, this is God. It's like, okay, I get what's stronger than the previous one. The way it's mixed with deciphering language, like some of these things with some of the action sequences, like there was the one earlier with the here, I'm gonna get to right here. Because there's action sequences where you're sneaking around or you're trying to avoid like just shit falling down. It feels like it's just sort of stuck together. Like, hey, we're going to get a cool like language-based puzzle. And now you're just going to be running past blocks falling on top of you. And another cool language-based puzzle. And now you got to sneak around like every other game that we sneak around. So it's a little kind of frustrating. It's like, it's a little bit disjointed in that case. However, I really enjoyed solving the language stuff. Like I'm a language buff.
Yeah.
It's really interesting to me because then I'm like, oh, I know what this word means. And it puts me in the mindset of, I feel like I kind of understand how like people study hieroglyphics and understanding what hieroglyphics mean, like old languages and cuneiform and that kind of stuff. I want to go back into my old art history books and start to read some of this stuff. But I enjoyed that aspect quite a bit of this, and really cool settings.
That was always a fun part of No Man's Sky was like unlocking all the words and stuff, and like being able to like slowly be able to talk with these people instead of just guessing what they're saying.
Yes.
Like, well, let's see if I think that means evil. So
yeah. And so I find that whole aspect of this to be a freaking blast. Like I love that part. And they did it really well in this. But again, you're doing those things, but then you have to like run away from a little devil guy, and you do more of the language stuff.
Wait a minute. What we talk about little devil guys?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Ruining stuff.
I need to see this little devil guy's design.
Yeah. It's I can't kind of pinpoint the setting because like the whole first part looks like it's like this, like, oh, this is like Middle Eastern style, ancient setting, something from the olden days. Oh, okay. Oh, well, they got some rafters. Okay, this looks like it's something you would find like 2,000 years ago, whatever. And then all of a sudden you get to like there's lasers and there's trolleys.
I love this fucking design. That little
it's so cool.
Laser face.
Yeah, dude, it's so cool. Like I really enjoyed it, and I enjoyed not knowing. It really did feel like, you mentioned Tron, but it felt like Dune in a way. It's like, oh, this really has kind of a Dune vibe, like future archaic in a weird way. Like, look, there's like a sky tram for no reason. There's a dude wearing a top hat staring down. It's like, I don't know what this means, but I freaking love it. I mean, I love the stylistic, very simple, like you said, Monument Valley style. But I didn't love the action sequences. Absolutely loved the language stuff, but there's a little bit disjointed in some how they pull some of that together.
This little sneak, this little hunched sneak is very...
Yeah, it's so funny. Like you have to avoid guards, and so that like very early on, it's a very typical the guard's just moving in a circle, so you have to throw something to get his attention over on the other side. So it's like he's scrunched over like a grandfather. He's already bad posture right there. You're right. He's gonna have some back issues later on in his life if he doesn't already. But he gets even more scrunched over as he's trying to sneak around. But yeah, I think there's a super cool idea here, and it's worth just from the language side. But again, it's just a little disjointed in how they link the action sequences back to the rest of it. But cool setting, cool visuals. It's worth a pickup, if you're into the language side of things, I guess. Yeah, Chants of Sennaar.
Yeah.
And that's what I've been playing, guys. Yeah, I mean, I'm playing other stuff too, but that's what I wanted to talk about. So that's my review stuff. And that's it for tonight. Look at an hour and 15 minutes. We were able to get through in good time.
Yeah.
Less time than the PAX episode last week, which is good.
Yeah. And I didn't even get through everything. So
yeah, it's true. It's true. I mean, there was so much more PAX stuff you saw, which people can save the experience by going to PAX. It's funny because they announced, here's the weekend we're going to be back. Obviously, it's Labor Day weekend every year. They're like, here's the weekend. Fucking now, Ryan, now you show up when we're shutting shit down.
You missed my cool yo-yo tricks.
Yeah, JJ did like naked yo-yo tricks. It's great. Can you talk for like 20 more minutes? Nope. Just rewind it. But no, they announced PAX West already for next year. So go ahead and book the hotel, JJ.
Okay.
For us, yeah.
Yeah, that's it. As long as you're paying half this time.
Yeah, exactly. I paid the majority out of any of us for the PAX East hotel. I'll just say that. They haven't announced PAX East yet, which I'm still kind of bummed out. I'm like, hey, let me know PAX East because I got to start planning my trips for next year. I got all these Sky Miles now to start using. But yeah, PAX West, good stuff. Kind of.
You've already engaged. It's too late, Dally. You've lost.
It's too late. Thank you, gents. You can find us at SideQuesting.com. Find us in the Discord because that's really the best place to get a hold of us. We chat there all the time. We're talking about Monkey D. Luffy. AEW superstar MJF's favorite American show, One Piece. Built it's American property. I love that he goes all in. He's like, this is American cinema. It's like, we know. That's great. Good stuff. Actually, I think tickets will probably be going on sale soon for AEW in Chicago. That's me and Ryan do our. I just
got my ticket to AEW Wrestle Dream, the big Seattle one. They just announced Bryan Danielson versus Zack Sabre Jr. And I'm just losing my mind.
Yeah. Oh shit! AEW they are pulling out some dream matches again. Like Wrestle Dream, but they're doing a good job of that. You're trapped here, Taylor. Let's talk wrestling. No, we're not. I would say where can we find you?
I will go to bed.
Yeah, we used to say, tell us where we can find you, but just fucking go to the Discord.
I don't even know
I'm
anymore.
not telling you anywhere else. Just go to the Discord. Find us there, sidequesting.com, or in the chat or the comments in the bottom of this description of this podcast.
Yeah, wherever you stumbled upon this.
Yeah, wherever you found us. That's it. We'll see you on the next episode of The Side Quest.